Julian, it was an up and down road trip for you guys, obviously, where you lose a couple of games close, but you win a game by 54. Just what was the feeling within the locker room, I guess, on just how the road trip went?
I mean, obviously we're real disappointed. I mean, we're a team that feels like we can go out there and win each and every game. So anytime we lose, it's disappointing, especially 2 games that we felt like we had in our hands. And I mean, this is one of them things we just got to grow as a team and continue to find ways to win games down the stretch, especially close ones.
Defensively, what steps do you guys think you're taking in the right direction, and what steps do you think you need to still improve in?
I think right now the main thing is just being a more physical defensive team and just having more initiative on that end. Just dictating more things, being more physical. I feel like right now we're super reactionary on defense, and the reactionary team usually loses.
What are the conversations been with regard to the clutch stuff right now? It's obviously like it's kind of unusually sloppy right now, it seems like, for you guys as a team.
Yeah, and I feel like it's one of them things that we know it's been uncharacteristic, and we know that we're a better clutch team than that, and we got the guys to win games down the stretch and control games down the stretch. So it's one of the things that obviously we're putting a point of emphasis on, but it's also one of the things that we're not too worried about.
Do you think with the floater that you have, what's the balance, like kind of balancing that with getting all the way to the rim for you here in year 3?
Yeah, I feel like the main thing is, trying not to go in there and battle against all the trees, getting my shot blocked, things like that. I feel like playing in crowds is the main thing that I've been working on as of late, just trying to, know when to get off the ball, know when to score it. So the floater kind of helps slow the game down some. I can take a second to process what's going on, if the roll's open, if the skip's open, or if it's my time to shoot.
Is there a sense of urgency right now in the locker room, or is it too early for that kind of energy?
I mean, I feel like there's always a sense of urgency around here when we lose a couple. So I feel like guys are ready to get back out there, get back on the right side of things, and especially with the playoffs coming up and seeding being a major factor, I feel like every game matters so much.
How was practice today? What did you guys work on?
Practice was real good. It's always good to get everybody in here all at once and be together and hear coaches' voices. And obviously today a point of emphasis was our defense, especially after the game in Golden State. So just trying to clean some things up on that side of the ball, and then just getting ready for the moment.
When you say some sort of point of emphasis on defense, is it just physicality, or is it more like, are there certain things you guys haven't been reading as well that you need to?
I feel like the main thing really is the physicality, and then also just cleaning up a couple things conceptually, understanding what Boston likes to do and what we're going to do tomorrow and things like that.
Thank you, Joey. Appreciate it.
Coming off a loss like that, it's not a game we should have lost, not a game we wanted to lose, but we need to respond. And this week's a big week for us to respond. We got some good teams, these next few games, and we understand the challenge, and we just got to meet the challenge.
What are kind of the keys to you guys getting things back in the space that you want them in?
We got to guard. I think guard and take care of the ball. I feel like that's kind of the thing for us. It's been the same thing for us since I got here. I think when we guard teams and we take care of the ball, we tend to win a lot of games, and we know we're going to score. No matter who's out there, whatever the lineup is, we always score a lot of points. So we just got to pay attention to detail, especially at the end of the game. I feel like we need to close better. So just making sure we guard and take care of the ball.
In general, what are you seeing at the end of games? Clutch time has not been successful this year as it has in years past.
Yeah, like I said, I think just taking care of the ball has been the biggest part. I think we're giving teams easy buckets. We're making it really hard on ourselves, and that's all of us. Got to get to our spots. We got to hold our spots. I think teams kind of heated us up and sped us up a little bit. So like I said, just getting to our spots early, making sure we hold our spots, and taking care of it. Once we do that, we're going to hit good shots.
The two-man game is obviously one of your go-to plays down the stretch. Do you feel like teams are guarding that differently this year? Is there anything that's changed with that? What's your evaluation?
No, I think the teams are being more physical everywhere else. I think they know that once we get to the two-man game and once we get where we want to get to, it's really tough to stop. And those two are really tough to stop. So I think they're trying to be physical, take one of those guys out, push it out further on the floor, and that's kind of what I meant by holding our spots, making sure we get to where we need to be, get the ball in the person's hands we want it to be in, so Jamal or Yo, and then play off of that and just be tough and hold our spots.
Some highs and lows during this road trip. What's the mindset and the vibe in the locker room then?
I think the vibe's always going to be good. I think we understand that that team came to play. They played better than us. we've had good moments. We scored 150 points, you know, whatever 5 days ago. So we know we can score. We just have to tighten some things up at the end of games. But the vibe will always be good. We understand how good we are, especially when we're healthy. And we just got to get back to winning games, and we'll do that here soon.
With as much as you guys have sort of experimented with different defensive looks throughout the season, like, is there anything that you kind of feel like the group has grown more comfortable in than other things, or is it kind of just a readiness to handle a variety of schemes?
I think our defense just kind of came and go. I think that we need to be more consistent with our physicality, and I think that's kind of been something we talk about more and more. And I think we've had stretches where we've been, you know, better in it. And obviously, as the year goes, you know, with Dudley doing the defense this year, we've got more comfortable with, you know, terminology and those things. But that comes with time. But I think the biggest thing for us is just our physicality. And when we bring that physicality to the game, we tend to play better on defense. And I don't think we did a good job against the Warriors.
Julian mentioned the difference between kind of being proactive and reactive on the defense, and then trying to suss out some of the different things that teams are doing and then head them off quickly. Just how difficult is that throughout 48 minutes, throughout an entire season, just being that prepared and being that, like, understanding of what you're going to see versus what you actually see?
I think that the staff always does a really good job of making sure we're prepared, and we kind of know. I mean, a lot of NBA teams do similar things, you know, for years, and so we kind of know what we're going to see and what's coming. I think that the biggest part is being physical, and that sometimes you take teams out of actions if you can just be physical, kind of at the point of attack, or maybe you blow an action up and you know, keep something on the side or something like that, you know, and kind of stop the action. If you see it coming, a lot of times Joe calls that out, but I think physicality, and when we're more physical, we take teams out of actions and we do a better job getting into people, and that makes it tough on them.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Both you and Joker have talked about the importance of not getting too high or not getting too low. Are there times where maybe urgency or pressure are appropriate, and are we in one of those times?
I mean, I think there's always pressure in this, but I do think the appropriate thing is to just learn from each day. You know, we struggled Sunday, obviously, gave ourselves a chance to win and fell apart at the end. I was actually more disappointed with Thursday, the Clipper game. But no, I mean, it's big picture too. I mean, we're 36-22. Basically, we're tied for the 3 seed. And you have to look at that too. You're going to go through ups and downs throughout the season. This has been a down period for us, or I mean, more inconsistent period. You know, we played good games for 3 quarters and had 1 outlier quarter. So we're just trying to be more complete. We watched film today, cleaned some things up, and we realize what the schedule is and what's coming. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to understate pressure, but I do think it's a process to this. We're just trying to get to the end complete and whole, and put ourselves in the best, you know, position possible going into the tournament.
Defensively, we've asked you about this pretty much for most of the pressers. It's just like, what do you think the team is missing right now in terms of the connectiveness, in terms of being proactive defensively and not reacting to what the offensive team is doing?
Yeah, we watched it on film today. The Clipper game, I thought we were really aggressive defensively. We were really physical. The Portland game was an offensive game, obviously, historically. But I thought the other day on Sunday, you can have all the excuses about the schedule, whatever you want. Like, we were not physical enough, you know, to start possessions. And we talked about that. That's what we want to be. And, you know, no excuses, but, you know, a month and a half ago, I get it. When we got guys out, people are tired. And you're asking for too much sometimes to say 48 minutes of picking up, being physical, all those kind of things. But now we're back to a point where I think the rotation's long enough that we can demand that. And we need more of it. I thought Golden State, some of the clips we watched today, they started their offense at the elbow, and no one had touched anybody up to that point. You know, and that led to a lot of ball movement possessions for them, a lot of cutting and moving, which they do well. But if you're not physical with them, you're not holding people up, bumping cutters, you're letting them run their script offense. And I think that we have to be much more physical at the point. We talked about it today. It was an objective, but we went through in practice. And I just hope that it carries over to these next 3 games. So then we can talk about it on tape and get better from it. Because there's always, you know, positives and negatives to how you play. There's something that a team can take from how you play. You know, teams that play on the high side, you can back up those teams. I'd rather have people doing that than moving the ball side to side like Golden State did. It wasn't good enough. It's not to a standard we want to be. So it just has to get better.
You mentioned rotation. How do you build out a playoff ready rotation, just with how many guys have been in and out this year, just constructing lineups and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, my hope is that we get the full group back 20 games to go. That'd be my, what I would pray for nightly, just so we can actually see what it is. We have the 10 games, we have the start of the season. Those 10 games were very successful. We were 8-2, or statistically, we're as good as anybody in the NBA. But that's been a long time coming, so I don't know what we'll be when everybody gets back. But we need to play. And I promise you, when everybody gets back, there's going to be a growth period during that point too. And we have to be patient with that. So to the first question, do you feel pressure? Do you feel like, we're training in the wrong direction? Not really. I think we're just going through something right now. And when those guys come back, we'll go through something again. But the biggest part of this is surviving it, getting to the end, because we know what we can be if we're fully healthy and we get in the tournament, how hard it will be to beat. But I know it's frustrating for fans, for myself. It's part of the deal, man. The 82-game schedule is what it is, and a lot of teams are going through it. You look at the top teams in the West outside of San Antonio, everybody's had injuries. So we've had it too, and this is our period that we have to fight through. When we get Aaron and Peyton back and we figure out who the hell we are from all the way back in October, who we thought we were going to be, the hope is that we get enough games to find a rhythm to who we can be. And I think what we can be is a major, major problem. But we just got to get to that point.
How realistic is it that you get the whole group back for 20 games to go?
I'm putting a lot of pressure on people to maybe we can get there. But no, it's, Peyton and Aaron are progressing well. Yesterday they were in here playing with our coaches, conditioning, but they got some full contact in, and saw a lot of growth there. And it is, Aaron's been through 2 injuries this year, not to mention what happened last year. And then Peyton's going through something he hasn't really been through. And so I think it's more about confidence to explode and be okay with what an NBA game is like as opposed to a workout out here. So once they get that comfort level back mentally, the physical part follows that. And then we'll have 2 extremely impactful players back in the rotation.
You've been, patient, kind of trying to maintain that you're not too concerned about the clutch time performance throughout the season. It is a small sample size, even over the course of the whole season. Like, philosophically, where are you at as far as, like, is there a point where it becomes a concern as far as habits or anything like that, or do you still kind of feel in a decent place about it, I guess?
Yeah, it's funny. I think we're trying to maintain who we are, playing the 2-man game without the things that matter behind it. Like if we play the 2-man game with Aaron Gordon, it's a very different rotation for teams. So you don't want to scrap something that you're going to do, and you're presupposing that those guys are going to be out there. Not to mention, having 2 shooters in both corners in those situations. But then, to your point, the flip side of that is we have to figure out a way to finish games when teams are full rotating of those 2 guys. Sometimes 3 guys, sometimes 4. So we talked about that today. Different ways to attack, late game. I've been more, I guess, distressed about the 4-minute mark on in the last 2 minutes. I think we've had so many screw-ups defensively. Our turnovers always keep teams in games. So to me, it's not just the last couple minutes, it's the minutes before that. We have to be much more solid with how we play, no matter who's playing. And it's cost us some games throughout the season. And then I look at the clutch stuff and I go, well, it's crazy we were so clutch when it was a bunch of guys that weren't in the rotation to start the season. So, things work both ways, and clutch time can just be defense sometimes. But we'll keep working on the offensive part of it, not forgetting who we've been, but try to add some wrinkles to help those 2 guys out.
Christian, you're saying that teams are being more physical with the 2-man game.
Yeah.
Is that your evaluation? What have you kind of seen?
Yeah, I mean, they're just full-on blitzing Jamal and bringing a 3rd defender early in Nicola, which means that we have to have outlets behind that, and the guys that are outlets behind it have to understand that now it's them, and they have to make a play. If those 2 guys bring 3 or 4 people to them, it's your turn to win the game. And, the better teams in our league, yes, the highlights come from your star players. That's what they show on SportsCenter at night. But a lot of those games are won by 3rd and 4th guys in the rotation making a huge shot. And I think that's where we have to be. If teams are going to bring that many people, I look back to the Clipper series last year. They were the first team that really said, we're just going to flat out lead people. And when we beat them last year, it was Russell Westbrook making a 3. It was Aaron Gordon making the three. You know, it wasn't Jamal on the pull. And so if teams are going to demand that of us, then our guys have to understand that I have full confidence in any of those guys to take an open shot, and we'll live with an open shot nightly. You know, the flip side of that is we can't turn the ball over. Jamal and the pull out to be cleaner at the end of the game, and I think what that will follow is wide open shots for other people.
This is a tough upcoming week for you guys from a quality of performance standpoint. Where do you think this week will help you guys kind of understand who you are when matching up with some of the best teams in the NBA?
Yeah, no, it's a great litmus test of where we're at. I mean, I think the physicality of all three of these games will be high level, all very good defensive teams, and all very different offensive teams, I would say. You know, Boston is a freewheeling three-point shooting team when Jaylen Brown's not isolating. That offensive rebounds like crazy with a bunch of smalls. And you get to OKC, we know what that is. And then obviously Minnesota with their size. So it'll be three different ways to look at how teams get guard us if we're lucky enough to be in the playoffs. And I think that'll be good for us to learn from. And hopefully while we're learning, we'll win the games.
How close is Aaron to fully participating today?
He did basically everything but the contact stuff. You know, he got up and down the script. We did some obviously situational defensive drills. He was a part of that. But it's just going to be a day-by-day thing. And I think the more he gets out there and, you know, just gets up and down and plays with contact, you know, even if it gets our coaches, you know, that would bring more confidence for everybody to feel comfortable with him coming back. But Aaron's been great. He's understood the process. And I think you all understand how frustrating this has been for him. He sees us losing games that he could be a part of. He sees us winning games that were completely joyful, like Portland, where everything went our way, and he's not a part of either. So he understands the process. He also understands how important he is to this group, how he completes us. But we have to make sure he's right. I said that before. He came back. He got hurt. I'm going to say it again. We just got to do everything we can to get him right for that last stretch, to make him feel comfortable that they're going to miss a few games.
Thank you, sir.